Whenever you rent or buy a video, you need to be sure that the film you choose is suitable for the audience at home. To help you, there are certificates given to films which tell you broadly what the film is like. This film has been classified PG. That stands for parental guidance, which means that parents might want to check up on it before showing it to their younger children. If it's an action film, it might have some violence. If it's romantic, it might have some sexy scenes or very brief nudity. It might also have some of the milder swear words. Video certificates are there to give you the chance to make an informed choice. They allow you to have peace of mind and be entertained. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the film.
You are invited to a murder. A stranger lies dead in Arlington Grange. There are 6 suspects, but which one is the killer? Could it be Mrs. Peacock, lady of the manor and beautiful society hostess? Perhaps Colonel Mustard, military hero and intimate family friend? Is Reverend Green a saint or sinner? Is it Professor Plum, a man with a degree of suspicion? Miss Scarlett, Mrs. Peacock's glamorous stepdaughter? Or Mrs. White, loyal housekeeper and devoted confidant?
Ladies and gentlemen, your host for Cluedo, Richard Madeley.
Thank you. Hello. Good evening and welcome to a brand new series of Cluedo. It's the programme which gives you the chance to play armchair detective as you try to solve the mystery of a murder at Arlington Grange. And that's also the challenge, of course, for our celebrity detectives, who are radio and television presenter Valerie Singleton and from children's television scientific wizard Johnny Ball. And challenging them tonight, MP and former Health Minister Edwina Currie, and the man behind the Rocky Horror Show and, of course, the Crystal Maze, Richard O'Brien. So welcome to both teams, and the best of luck to them. Well, Cluedo, of course, tests your powers of observation and logic as you try to uncover 3 crucial facts: the room in which the murder was committed, the weapon that was used, and, of course, the identity of the killer. We do know that the murder was committed with one of 6 weapons, but was it the scissors, the candlestick, the telephone flex, the poker, the syringe and poison, or was it the billiard cue? I can also reveal at this stage that the victim was killed in one of these 6 rooms. Was it the dining room, the drawing room, the billiard room, the library, the kitchen, or was it in the study? Now, let's examine the crucial evidence, the events that lead up to the murder itself. On the day of the Arlington hunt, a young man arrives at the Grange looking like the victim of another kind of blood sport.
Dearie me. Some of those look nasty. Oh, looks to me like 1 or 2 of them might need stitches.
It's very good of you to help me like this.
Oh, don't be silly. Yeah, it'd be easier, though, if we had the jacket away. Someone's really got a go at you, haven't they?
Yeah, I thought they were going to kill me. In fact, if the vicar hadn't turned up,
How are you feeling?
Oh, awful. Thanks for the lift, though.
Oh, lucky few hours passing by. I'm just so dreadfully sorry about...
Damn hunt-saboteurs. Good Lord. Who's this fan belong to? Walking wounded, I may be, but I think I'll pass more what's needed. Why? What's the matter? What happened?
Oh, we had those blasted hunt-saboteurs again.
Oh.
One of them set off a firecracker. Phantom shied and threw me, and then bolted right out into the main road in front of a lorry.
Oh, not Phantom.
Yes. If I ever catch who did it, I will break their necks. Sherry Vicar.
Well, yes, thank you.
Oh, Vicar.
How'd the other half live, eh? Oh, God, burn it. Must be solid silver. Oh, God. It's them.
What in heaven's name are you doing here?
I might ask you the same thing.
Mrs. Peacock, who owns this house, also happens to be my patron. And one of your lot was responsible for a horse being killed this morning.
Well, that wasn't me.
Well, maybe it wasn't, but trying to convince Mrs. Peacock will be another matter, so I said you leave as quickly and as quietly as possible.
Too late. Because you know who that is, don't you? That's some of the lot that laid into me this morning. And I'm going to get the police and have them for it.
Oh, for goodness sake! Do you think the police are going to believe you?
No. But you were there as well. You saw who was doing what. They'd have to believe you, wouldn't they?
Those people are my parishioners, my neighbours, my friends.
Well, you better start examining your conscience then, hadn't you, Vicar?
Complete waste of time. The whole thing ruined by a bunch of vermin.
Say nothing of what happened to Phantom.
Yes. Well, at least we managed to teach one of them a lesson this morning.
Yeah. He's going to teach you a lesson in return.
Gordon. What? Who's this?
He's the one. Damn me, of all the nerve.
Just keep away.
He's one of them. In my house.
Oh, sorry.
I think you better leave now.
Elizabeth, leave this to me.
If he isn't out of here in 2 minutes, he'll get what he deserves.
Disappointed to see you in this sort of company, Viv. Thought you had better taste.
Shut up, you. Wait a minute, what does he mean by that? How the hell do you know him?
I know you as well. I've got a video of you feeding a live fox cub to the hounds.
I never.
Yeah, well, we'll see what the police and the RSPCA say when they've seen it. And when to report you for assault and grievous bodily harm.
You try making a phone call from here. I'll wrap this around your neck.
Oh, dear Lord, it's a tip of more violence, please.
All right. I'll find another phone. But don't go away, because I'll be back.
That's blackmail.
Just helping you towards your Christian duty.
Oh, sorry, am I interrupting?
No, not at all. I was just going to be off.
You better get going, or you know what's good for you. After what you did to Phantom, I'm sorry I didn't let you bleed to death.
I'm going. Just as soon as I find my jacket.
It's in the drawing room.
So, where did you meet him?
I can't remember.
Well, he seems to know you well enough.
Oh, Mike, for God's sake.
One thing's for sure, we can't have him talking to the police.
It's all right for you. He hasn't got you on video.
No, but he has a witness, the vicar.
Well, he won't say anything.
Who knows?
In that case, You realize what we're saying? We can't let him leave the house.
Something dreadful's happened.
What's the matter, Mrs. White?
It's that young man. He's dead. He's been murdered.
So Gordon Ferrer, the hunt saboteur, became the huntsman's prey. But who committed the murder? Well, only two people in the studio know that. I'm one of them. And the other, of course, is the killer, who is one of these 6 suspects. Was it Colonel Mustard who silenced the saboteur forever? Did Mrs. Peacock avenge the death of her faithful phantom? Was Miss Scarlett determined to bury a guilty secret? Did Mrs. White have a motive for murder? Could the Reverend Green commit the ultimate crime? Or did Professor Plum find the fatal formula to save his reputation? So there they are. Our 6 suspects, 6 possible murder weapons, and 6 possible rooms. Now, before we begin our inquiries, I'd like our studio detectives, from what they've seen so far, to give me an initial reaction. Valerie, Johnny, what's your gut feeling at this stage?
Well, we had a combined gut reaction, if you like, that it was done in the kitchen. And we think the evidence is so strong that it probably is the syringe and Mrs. Peacock.
You think Mrs. Peacock is the killer?
Why on earth would I do that?
That doesn't get a very strong favourable reaction from the gallery, so we'll just move on now to Edwina and Richard. What's your immediate feeling on this?
Tell him.
Well,
out of his misery.
We thought it was probably done in the drawing room.
Yep.
And we reckoned it was a fairly bloody affair, so it must have been done with a billiard cue.
Nasty weapon, yeah.
And that would need somebody really nasty to do it. And so we think it's Colonel Mustard.
Colonel?
Short fuse. The man's got a short fuse.
Yes, now that finds a bit more favour here, but there is a long way to go. In round 1, our studio sleuths can now cross-examine all the suspects, but before they begin, just one more piece of very important information. Only the murderer can lie. Only the killer can lie. All the others have to tell the truth. So let's start the cross-examination. Valerie, Johnny, would you please ask your first question?
Right. The first question goes to Miss Scarlett, and we want to know why you were so shocked to see Gordon Ferrer and just exactly what's going on between you. What was going on between you?
Gordon was an old boyfriend of mine, but it obviously was a very embarrassing situation since...
But what's embarrassing about meeting an old boyfriend?
Well, since he'd just been involved in sabotaging our hunt, and obviously had got into a little bit of a fracas with one of the members of my family.
Let's move on to the next question, please, Edwina, Richard.
Well, we've got a question for Mrs. White.
Yes.
Now, you're the first person that we see talking to Gordon, looking after him. And we're puzzled as to why he should come to the house, and we wondered whether this was just an accident or a fatal accident. Did you know him beforehand?
Well, you don't get many people with long hair round our way, so I had noticed him before. I didn't know his name, but I knew who he was.
All right, let's continue with the cross-examination. Johnny.
Yes, well, the thoroughly bad lot at the end there, Mr. Colonel Mustard, who rips phones out on a whim. I'd like to know, if you intended to stop this chap leaving the premises, how did you propose to do it?
Well, to keep him in the house would have been quite unrealistic. That was just a fatuous remark by Plum, I'm afraid. To be perfectly frank with you, I'd have been quite happy just to give the lout another beating and kick him off the estate as far away from Vivian as possible.
A very pleasant reply. I wonder if it's the truth. Right, Edwina.
We want to have a go at Reverend Green now, if we can. The last time, Reverend, that we saw you, you were talking with Gordon in the kitchen, and he was challenging you about your conscience. What did you do after leaving the kitchen?
I went straight to my automobile, which was sitting outside the kitchen, and meditated for a few minutes upon the situation, and then drove off to my next appointment. And then, of course, Mrs. White stopped me and told me of the dreadful news that this young boy was no longer with us.
All right, we're getting some interesting information here. Another question.
Well, this one goes to Mrs. Peacock. We want to know why you had such a large syringe in a drawer in your study, in your desk, and why you would be filling it with poison.
You're quite correct. That is a large syringe, and it's because it's an animal syringe that I had been given some time ago by our local vet. We have an awful lot of animals at Arlington Grange, and from time to time we've had some accidents and they've had to be put down.
There was another horse hurt, was there, in the hunt that day as well as Phantom?
In the hunt that day, yes, as if it wasn't enough for Phantom to have been killed as he was. One of our hounds was also injured, and I had to deal with that on that same day, unfortunately.
So that is why you were filling the syringe. It was to...
It certainly was.
It was to dispatch the hound.
Yes, it was.
All right, thank you. And we have one more question, please.
Yes. Well, we have a question for the Professor. And we saw you, sir, last in the billiard room, and you wanted to stop Gordon leaving. Well, now, what exactly did you do about that?
Well, I simply wanted to try and persuade him, dare one say, to forgive me. I was deeply ashamed of the material on the videotape and hoped that I might be able to persuade him to give me that tape in return for some money. My wife is immensely rich, fortunately, and would have understood perfectly.
Thank you, and thank you. Well, we've heard now from each of our 6 suspects, and now our studio detectives have got to make some deductions. Now, at this stage, the best result for our sleuths, of course, would be a completely correct deduction, all 3 right. But I should point out that the next best result, oddly enough, would be a completely incorrect deduction, because that then will eliminate a room, a weapon, and, of course, a suspect from their inquiries. So, Valerie and Johnny, in which room was the murder committed? With which weapon? And who do you think's the murderer?
You go for that.
Well...
You want the study, don't you?
Yes, we thought it was definitely the study. He probably blundered into the study, you see, because he didn't know the house very well.
He was looking for his coat, and he perhaps went into the
we
wrong
thought, and we are certain that who would he blunder into the study but a syringe and Mrs. Peacock.
Mrs. Peacock?
Very suspicious about...
Absolutely unthinkable. I was distraught.
Yes, well, that's what you've said. That's what you've said, Mrs. Peacock, but they suspect you. All right.
It's the size of the syringe to put a hound down. We think that's very suspicious.
You think that's a fake story, you think? Well, we'll discover that in a second. Let's move on now to Edwina and Richard.
Staying with the same analysis, we've got the room, the drawing room, we have the weapon, the billiard cue, and the suspect is Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard against him.
This is rubbish. The boy's not worth going to prison for.
Jealousy is a well-known motive for murder.
You think jealousy was the motive?
It's certainly part of it, I think.
Let's go back here and recap. Valerie and Johnny, you said you thought that the room where the murder was committed was the study, the weapon was the syringe, and the guilty person is Mrs. Peacock. You're completely wrong on all 3. Now, Edwina and Richard, you said it was the drawing room, you thought it was the billiard cue, and you've accused Colonel Mustard. And I have to tell you that you also are completely wrong.
How marvellous.
Completely wrong. So, we've now definitely eliminated the drawing room and the study, the syringe and the billiard cue, and, of course, Mrs. Peacock and Colonel Mustard, so you must be feeling very relieved. But I have to ask you to stay with us, please, for the rest of the investigation, because you may be material witnesses. You may have seen something, even though you don't realise it, that implicates one of these 4 people here. In a moment, our studio detectives will continue to cross-examine the suspects and, of course, the witnesses if they wish to. But first, some very important new evidence has come to light. We begin in the kitchen, where Gordon has confronted the Reverend Green.
I can't. Don't you understand?
No, it's you that doesn't understand. Look, if you don't give evidence to the police, I might have to tell all your good friends and neighbours how you've been helping us over the years, telling us when the hunt's going to meet and what covers they're intending to flush.
That's blackmail.
Just helping you towards your Christian duty, Vicar.
Oh, sorry, am I interrupting? No, not at all. I was just going to be off. You better get going, if you know what's good for you. Just came in to tidy up.
Where is he?
Gone, I think.
I do hope so, for his sake.
Well, if we didn't know that she was innocent, that could have looked very bleak indeed for Mrs. Peacock, but she is innocent. So our studio sleuths will now put this fresh evidence to good use. In round 2, they can cross-examine any suspect or any witness that they want to. Each question and answer must, though, be followed straight away by a deduction. So we're going to start with Valerie and with Johnny.
Right, we've decided we've got to go for the Reverend Green, and we want to know, why are you so reluctant to give evidence to the victim?
It's a very difficult situation for me because on this stand are not only my dear friends but members of my flock. They come to my church regularly. But I have to say I find it despicable what they do in the hunt, and will have nothing to do with any of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You still haven't explained why you wouldn't give evidence. You don't want to lose friends, is that it?
I'm afraid that is it. It's rather an unreligious thing, but I'm afraid that is it.
All right, would you like to make a deduction based on that rather emotional answer?
Yes, we think that's emotional. We think emotion got the better of him. We think in the kitchen, Reverend Green done the deed with, we think, the candlestick.
All right, Valerie and Johnny, you've said the kitchen, the candlestick, and the Reverend Green. Well, I can tell you that you've got 2 out of 3 of those deductions correct. Well done.
Which is the third?
Let's move on now to Edwina and Richard. Your question first.
Well, we'd like to have another go at Mrs. White, because we're not satisfied. We've caught you lying. When you took the coat off Mrs. Peacock, you told Mrs. Peacock that the young man had gone, when you knew perfectly well that wasn't so. Now, why did you do that?
I'm afraid you're remembering things wrongly. I didn't say he had left. I said, I think he's gone. I would never lie to Mrs. Peacock. I've worked for her for years. She knows she can rely on me.
All right, I think you pressed her just about as hard as you can. Can we have a deduction, please?
Deduction is as follows. We think it's the kitchen, the candlestick, and Mrs. White.
Say the kitchen, the candlestick, and Mrs. White. I can tell you that you've got 1 out of those 3 deductions correct. All right, Valerie and Johnny, can we have another question from you, please?
Yes, it's a question to Mrs. White. We want to know what she did with the scissors.
The scissors? That was on the tray when I was treating him in the drawing room, and that stayed on the tray. I carried the tray to the kitchen, and I left it on the table.
So they would have been on the kitchen table? Right.
I suppose so.
It seems, we think...
Yes, I want the deduction now.
It's clear. We think it was the kitchen. We think it was the scissors. And we think it was the Reverend Green.
Well, let's not be too hasty. Tell us why you think that.
Well, he really likes to play it all ways, doesn't he? I mean, he wants to help the hunt saboteurs. He wants to stay in with the folk in the big house. He's a man of cloth, but not a man of principle, I don't think.
First, I thought it may have been for his love for Mrs. Peacock and his devotion to her that it may have been. But then we realised later that he's been up to all kinds of devious things and he's going to lose his job.
All right, thank you. Well, I can tell you. It was the kitchen, it was the scissors, and it was the Reverend Green.
I don't know what came over me. I've been part of the community for over 15 years. All my friends are here. My flock. My roots. I've given everything to this parish. And I don't have the strength to go on to new ventures, to start afresh. And that's what it would have meant. I just think the prospect was so cruel, so unfair. I didn't go back into the kitchen to do him any harm. I don't know why I picked up the scissors. I just wanted to challenge him. But he laughed at me. There they were in my hands. And all I could see was his bare neck. And I forgot who I was. God help me, I actually forgot who I was.
So, there we are. It was the Reverend Green who murdered Gordon Ferrer in the kitchen, and he used the scissors to do it. My apologies, of course, to all the other witnesses here tonight. They are entirely cleared of suspicion and, of course, free to go. And, of course, our congratulations have to go to Valerie and Johnny. You played a very, very good game, and you tracked the killer down. And I also have to say real commiserations to Edwina and Richard, because you also guessed it at just about the same time, but you didn't get the chance to come in. So, a big round of applause to both teams, please. We'll be back, of course, next week to solve another murder at Arlington Grange. But for now, from all of us here on Cluedo, a very good night to you. Good night.
You are invited to a murder. A stranger lies dead in Arlington Grange. There are 6 suspects, but which one is the killer? Could it be Mrs. Peacock, lady of the manor and beautiful society hostess? Perhaps Colonel Mustard, military hero and intimate family friend? Is Reverend Green a saint or sinner? Is it Professor Plum, a man with a degree of suspicion? Miss Scarlett, Mrs. Peacock's glamorous stepdaughter? Or Mrs. White, loyal housekeeper and devoted confidant?
And here is your host for Cluedo, Richard Madeley.
Thank you. Hello and welcome to Cluedo. A murder has been committed at Arlington Grange, and over the next half hour, you can examine the evidence and solve the case at home. And leading the inquiry here in the studio are celebrity detectives from Treasure Hunt, Annabelle Croft, and sports presenter Dickie Davis. And challenging them, we have TV AM's Lorraine Kelly and newsreader Martin Lewis. Happy sleeping to you all. All right, the task for our studio detectives, and of course for you at home, is to work out who committed the murder, with which weapon, and in which room. And to help you on your way, I can reveal some important initial clues. We do know that the killer used one of 6 weapons. Was it the candlestick, the gun, the dagger, the statuette, the cross and chain, or was it the decanter? I can also reveal that the victim was killed in one of these 6 rooms. Was it the dining room, the drawing room, the billiard room, the library, the kitchen, or was it in the study? Well, let's examine now the crucial evidence, the events that lead up to the murder. Mrs. White believes that the house is haunted, and the others think that it's time to exorcise the Arlington ghost.
Lunch.
Oh my God.
I am here. I am
Can you hear it, Reverend?
Hear me, Satan, and be banished. In the name of all that's good and holy, Blanche White rejects you and all your works. Yes. Well, that seems to have the job well.
Oh, I don't know, Reverend. I still feel something.
Well, you may need a top-up session a day or 2.
Trust the vicar, Mrs. White. Don't you feel an aura of peace and serenity?
Well, so much for serenity.
At this hour, who can you be expecting?
Creatures of the night, I have arrived.
Good Lord, who is it?
Miss Terry, I presume. Mrs. White? Blanche, dear. Look, don't be alarmed, but I want you to meet Miss Terry. Professor Plum has heard that she has the most exceptional gift.
Psychic negotiation. She contacts the spirit who's causing all the problems and talks it out.
Great heavens, it's her. Mrs. Peacock, may I have a word?
Excuse me.
This woman is notorious. She's the one that wrote this lurid bestseller, The 10 Most Haunted Houses.
So?
So she'll conduct a seance, and everything that comes out will be splashed all over the tabloids. She's publicity mad.
Well, of course, I don't want publicity, but I feel I owe it to Mrs. White. The poor woman is beside herself. And she's not doing her work.
And that's why I'm here. I represent the church.
Professor Plum is confident. Let's give her a chance.
Don't you trust me, Mrs. Peacock? Well then, I won't be held responsible for the mayhem that's to come.
But since this business with the voices started, I'm not taking any chances, Mrs. Peacock.
Oh, calm yourself.
Do we really have to go through with this?
The candles are sufficient.
Spirits of the ether, voices in the night, speak unto me, your friend and protector. I am trying to help our dear friend, Mrs. White. But there are so many strange feelings coming through. I sense duplicity in this room. I see a secret liaison. There's more. I see old ladies being duped and swindled of their money.
This is all rubbish!
There's somebody else coming through. A crucial messenger. Speak to me. Speak.
Be calm. Miss Terry, are you all right?
Reverend, see to Mrs. White.
We must reconvene. 20 minutes. Contact is made. A terrible secret will be revealed.
See the state that woman has got Mrs. White into? She's got to go.
She's onto something. Did you feel the room go cold?
Where's Vivian?
Mustard took her into the billiards room.
Calm down. All she said was liaison.
For God's sake, Mike, I don't know how, but that medium knows about us. And the way she's carrying on, Elizabeth is going to find out.
So?
Mike, Miss Terry has to be stopped. If you don't do something...
I'm getting out of here.
Look, Green, this woman is obviously a charlatan. Now, it's your job to expose her.
Oh, I don't know. I'm beginning to wonder.
Now, you listen to me. It's your job to save Mrs. White's soul. Now, you know what your Bible says about deliver us from evil. Well, you get in there and deliver us from this woman of evil.
Where is my talisman, the dagger?
I put it on the table.
Could we just get on with this, please?
I am trying to make contact for Blanche White. But no, this message isn't for you, Blanche. It's a young man. A gifted student.
I am here. I can see my tormentor. Yes, you, Plum, you. Stole my back and drove me to suicide.
It's a lie.
It's all lies.
And here is Jack Peacock. He wants to warn of a secret affair.
I've had enough of this.
So have I.
You won't get away with this slander, woman.
I knew it would come to this. She's nothing but a scandal monger.
Fine words from a crook. I will expose you. Mrs. Peacock, there's so much coming through. There's a book to be written about this house. You and I could share the royalties. And now I must find somewhere to meditate. I think we have a devastating night ahead of us.
I want her out of here.
I think you might be too late.
It's all your damn fault. Can you imagine the scandal that this could cause? The disgrace to us all.
It's not true. I can prove it.
I'm not interested in your proving it. I just want you to stop
this dreadful woman?
I intend to.
Good. Because if you don't, I will.
Study?
No, the kitchen.
I had it too, the kitchen.
Has anyone seen Mrs. White?
No.
She's dead.
What?
The medium, Miss Terry. Someone killed her.
Oh, no.
So, Miss Terry has joined the spirit world. But who killed her? Only 2 people in the studio know that. I'm one of them, and the other, of course, is the killer, who was one of these 6 suspects. Did Colonel Mustard have a motive to murder the victim? Did the spectre of a scandal make Mrs. Peacock the killer? Did Miss Scarlett's secret make her silence the psychic? She was unhinged, but was Mrs. White mad enough to murder? Was the Reverend Green guilty of killing the clairvoyant? Or did a ghost from the past drive Professor Plum to a deadly deed? So there they are, our 6 suspects. 6 possible murder weapons and 6 possible rooms. So, studio detectives, based on the evidence that you've heard so far, what's your gut feeling about this case? We'll go to Annabelle and Dickie first.
Well, our gut feeling might seem obvious, but we think that the murder was committed in the kitchen. The weapon was the gun, and Mrs. White did the dirty deed.
Mrs. White? Well, let's move across now to the other 2, Lorraine and Martin.
Well, we're deducing, just from the odd look and the occasional expression that flitted across a certain person's face, we think that the room was the dining room, we think the weapon was the candlestick, and the murderer was Mrs. Peacock.
Mrs. Peacock. Very direct accusation, and again, a bit of a mixed reaction this time from the gallery. Well, we did ask them for their intuitive feelings, and of course, instincts can sometimes play you wrong. They can sometimes be absolutely right, but we'll find out, because we move on to round 1. This is where our studio sleuths can cross-examine the suspects. But before they begin, just one more vital piece of information. Only the murderer can lie. All the others have to tell the truth. Remember that. So, Annabelle, Dickie, off you go with your first cross-examination question.
Okay, I'd like to ask Professor Plum a question. Is it true that this student committed suicide because you stole his work?
Oh, no. His name was Blair. He was very romantic and very neurotic and thought he was excessively plain, and he was nearly right. And always wanted, during his whole 3 years when he was up at university, to be a martyr. No. There's no truth in what he said.
Okay, another question, please.
Miss Scarlett, perhaps if I could ask you, between rushing out of the second séance, we've seen you doing that, and coming down the stairs, did you meet anyone?
Oh, I didn't meet anyone, no.
Saw nobody. All right, thank you. Simple answer.
I'd like to put a question to Mrs. Peacock. In both the séances, Miss Terry talked about duplicity and swindling. She also said there was enough material there to write a book and that you should also share the royalties with her. Why did you not react to that?
Oh, I think I did react. I reacted with coldness to this woman. But I think it was the least of my problems, frankly, that she was about to write anything about Arlington Grange. That really was beside the point. I just realized that perhaps Reverend Green, who had told me all along about this despicable woman, that he was probably right.
Martin, you've got another question now.
I'd like to put a question to Mrs. White.
Oh.
Mrs. White, you told Mrs. Peacock that you had always carried a gun since, I think you said, the voices started to happen.
Voices?
Was the gun in your possession right through the evening?
It's really hard for me to think, you see. I haven't really been sleeping very well. Yeah, I kept the gun with me all evening, definitely.
And what about the gunshot then?
Oh, well, I thought I heard something tapping at the window, and I fired. I shot the Argo.
All right, one more, please.
Right, our next question is to Reverend Green. Colonel Mustard ordered you to do your duty and deliver us from this woman of evil. What do you think he inferred by that?
I think it was purely to get rid of the woman spiritually. I mean, there's no no connection physically, no getting rid of them that way. I think it was just me, as a man of the cloth, to actually get rid of her mentally.
All right, Lorraine, would you like to make a cross-examination?
Colonel Mustard, we know that you are a bit of a cad, but you didn't seem unduly upset by events, and can we assume then that your instructions had been carried out?
Oh, no, I mean, Reverend Green's a man of the cloth. He's our spiritual leader at Arlington Grange, and naturally I wanted him to assert himself over this Miss Terry. I certainly didn't instruct him to murder her, if that's what you're inferring.
OK, thank you very much indeed. That's enough questions for now. So, we've now heard from each of our 6 suspects, and now the studio detectives have got to make a deduction. Now, of course, the best result for them at this stage would be a completely correct one, but the next best result would be an entirely incorrect deduction, because that will eliminate a room, a weapon, and a suspect from our inquiries here tonight. All right, first of all, can we go to Annabelle and Dickie?
We have said that the murder was committed in the study with a cross and chain, and the murderer is the Reverend Green.
Reverend Green. And a lot of agreement for that particular theory. Annabelle, why do you think that?
Well, I think we remember that the psychic, when she left the séance, she said, I'm going to go and meditate now.
Yes, she
and
did.
we have ruled out certain rooms, and we can only assume she went to the study. And we weren't very impressed with Reverend Green's answer.
All right, Lorraine and Martin, can I have your deduction, please?
We've concluded second time around that the room was the kitchen, that the weapon was the gun, which never left Mrs. White's possession, and that the murderer, therefore, was Mrs. White, who also significantly didn't appear at the end after the body was discovered.
You've given us your reasons, so I'll go back to Annabelle and Dickie. Let's just refresh our memories. You said the murder was committed in the study, and the weapon was the cross and chain, and therefore it was the Reverend Green. Well, I can tell you, none of those 3 deductions are correct. Lorraine and Martin, you said the murder was committed in the kitchen, with the gun, and that Mrs. White was the killer. Well, I can tell you that you also have got none of those deductions correct. None at all. Very interesting at this stage. So we definitely now can eliminate the study and the kitchen as places where the murder happened. We can eliminate the cross and chain and the gun. And of course, the Reverend Green and Mrs. White are completely innocent. Now, before our studio detectives continue to question the suspects and the 2 witnesses, we can examine some important new evidence. And first, we join Colonel Mustard and the Reverend Green in the study.
Will you get in there and deliver us from this woman of evil?
Lunch. I'll be defunct if this gets out. Don't you comprehend that?
Yes, I do.
Earn a fortune, you said. Just a couple of these lying around on bookshelves, and then I do the exorcism. Foolproof, you said.
Well, I wasn't reckoning on that circus inside.
No. Well, I've had enough of her. There. Come along, Miss White.
Well, any damning evidence there? Let's find out. Our studio sleuths will now put this very fresh evidence to use. In round 2, they can cross-examine any suspect or witness that they want, and each question and answer has to be followed straight away by a deduction. So we'll start off, please, with Annabelle and Dickie.
Well, we'd like to ask Colonel Mustard a question. In fact, Lorraine suggested you were a cad, Colonel Mustard. I think you're an absolute rogue. But what I'm most interested in is why did you stay behind in the library when everybody had left?
Well, as you so rightly say, I was now found out, and the game was up on the scam, so I decided to remove the technical equipment that I'd planted down.
He's admitting to the scam, and he's saying that that's really why he was there. So would you like to make a deduction, please?
Well, we think it's Colonel Mustard with the dagger in the dining room.
Mixed reaction again. Okay, so you're saying the murder was committed in the dining room with the dagger, and you're accusing Colonel Mustard. 2 out of 3 deductions correct. Well done, you moved very close towards it. 2 out of 3. And let's move across now to Lorraine and Martin.
My question is actually to the Reverend Green. Was Mrs. Peacock involved in the plot that you and Colonel Mustard concocted to fake the séance?
Oh, no, no. My darling benefactor Elizabeth Peacock had nothing at all to do with the scam.
All right, that's your answer, Reverend Green, and if you've cleared Mrs. Peacock of any implication in the scam, but let's have a deduction now, please, on the killing.
Well, by a process of elimination and a sheer stab in the dark, frankly, we think it was in the dining room with the dagger, and we think that Mrs. Peacock committed the dirty deed.
Peacock? I'm going to say that seems to be a popular choice. All right, why?
We think that Mrs. Peacock would do anything to avoid scandal, don't we? We think that she wouldn't want any sort of scandal to be attached to her name. And the dagger belonged to Miss Terry, so that might be a...
And we know that the dagger had gone missing. In fact, it was Professor Plum who indicated that the dagger had been moved away.
Let's go over this deduction again. You're saying the murder was committed in the dining room with the dagger, and you're accusing Mrs. Peacock. Well, at this moment of tension in the inquiry, I can tell you you've got 1 out of 3 deductions correct. But remember, on their last deduction, Annabel and Dickie got 2 out of 3 right, and I wonder if you can draw any conclusions from that. Let's have another question.
Right, we'd like to ask Professor Plum.
Yes.
We want to establish, did you really leave the dagger on the card table?
Yes, I remember it quite clearly because it was a carving of a woman with one eye and nostrils like a rocking horse, and it reminded me of my Auntie Wynne. So I'm certain about that.
So let's see what you deduce from that. Your deduction, please.
Right, we now think it's the billiard room with the dagger and Colonel Mustard.
Colonel Mustard. Could you tell us why you think it's him?
We've always suspected that rogue over there on the left-hand side. I mean, he had so much that could have come out into the open. I mean, he had the scab already going with Reverend Green. The affair had come to light with Miss Scarlett. What else would have...
He was also too cool when he came to announce that she was dead.
All right. I can now tell you that it was the billiard room, and it was the dagger, and it was Colonel Mustard.
Yes, I killed the obnoxious charlatan. Or was she a charlatan? The vicar and I were working our little pocket money scam with the help of a few hidden tape recorders and some high-tech imagination. Miss Terry threatened to expose us. But in the end, it was her revelations about Vivian and I that signed her own death warrant. I couldn't allow her to upset Elizabeth now, could I? I found the dagger quite by accident. It was just lying there, offering itself to me. And then I found Miss Terry, like the proverbial sacrificial lamb, sitting quietly behind the billiard room door. She was in a deep meditation. She didn't even hear the gunshot. It seemed as though she was in another world. And now, she is. Let's just call it divine intervention. You see, I managed to achieve what the vicar said he'd do. I rid the house of a demon.
So it was Colonel Mustard who murdered Miss Terry in the billiard room, and he used her dagger to do it. My apologies to the other 5. You are, of course, all cleared of suspicion and entirely free to go. Thank you for bearing with us during these painful inquiries. My congratulations as well, of course, to Annabel and Dickie. You played a very good game and you tracked them down quite quickly. Also to Lorraine and Martin, who in fact got very close, and that would have been your guess too the next time, wouldn't it?
We were there.
Sure, absolutely. Round of applause, please, for both teams. And we'll be back next week to solve another murder at Arlington Grange. But for now, from all of us on Cluedo, it's a very good night to you. Good night.
You are invited to a murder. A stranger lies dead in Arlington Grange. There are 6 suspects, but which one is the killer? Could it be Mrs. Peacock, lady of the manor and beautiful society hostess? Perhaps Colonel Mustard, military hero and intimate family friend? Is Reverend Green a saint or sinner? Is it Professor Plum, a man with a degree of suspicion? Miss Scarlett, Mrs. Peacock's glamorous stepdaughter? Or Mrs. White, loyal housekeeper and devoted confidante?
And here is your host for Cluedo, Richard Madeley.
Thank you, good evening, and welcome to Cluedo, where we're about to conduct a murder investigation and track down a killer. Now, if you think you've got what it takes to be a successful sleuth, then you can prove it in the next half hour as you try and unravel the mystery of a murder at Arlington Grange. And you can pit your wits against our celebrity studio detectives, who are, from TVAM, newsreader Lisa Aziz, and from The Bill, Detective Constable Tosh Lyons, Kevin Lloyd. And here to challenge them, we have children's television presenter Jenny Powell and Daily Mail Society columnist Nigel Dempster. And good luck to both teams tonight. Now, Cluedo, of course, tests your powers of logic and deduction. You have to work out who committed the murder, with which weapon, and in which room. Now, we do know that the murder was committed with one of these 6 weapons. Was it the knife, the billiard cue, the curtain cord, the insecticide, the carving fork, or the gun? I can also reveal that the murder was committed in one of these 6 rooms. Was it the dining room, the drawing room, the billiard room, the library, the kitchen, or was it the study? All right, let's now examine the crucial evidence so far, the events leading up to the murder itself. Mrs. Peacock is playing host to a journalist who's promised to write an article that will make Arlington Grange extremely famous.
How I know journalists.
Well, I couldn't be expected to turn down an article about Arlington Grange in country ways.
You'd be the envy of half the county.
Mm-hmm. Where the devil is the man?
Oh, Mr. Stringer.
I do hope you haven't been hanging about for me.
So, Mr. Stringer, you're a society hack. Who's where with whom and all that?
That's me. I do my own picks, too. Very lucrative. Mrs. Peacock, to your lovely house and to our collaboration.
Mrs. Peacock, that man Stringer.
Not now, Mrs. White.
No, thank you.
You're not usually so standoffish, from what I've heard and seen.
What exactly do you mean?
Holiday snaps. I've got the neg, of course.
What exactly do you want?
You'll find out later. You know where my room is? Don't bring that. You might do a chap an injury.
No scientific proof, only fate.
God does not exist. Finish.
Carry on, gentlemen. I love a discussion of the issues. Ethical problems. I'll tell you what. Before I thrash the Colonel at snooker, how about a different game? You'll love it.
What game, Mr. Stringer?
I pose a problem, you give the right ethical answer. Easy one first. Yours, Colonel.
Go on.
Gulf War. Undercover operation goes very wrong. 6 of our non-existent chaps, all Sten guns and balaclavas, get taken alive. Delivered back to our own HQ missing parts and mercifully dead.
So war's not very pretty.
The CO who cocked it up and covered it up gets a gong. Now, is that right, ethically, Colonel? How about a scientific one? A company sells something that kills the people who use it, yet it was verified harmless by an eminent scientist. Now, is that scientist guilty of murder, or the company who sold it? Eh, Doc?
You're here to write about the Grange. I suggest you do that and leave the house guests alone.
Just something to think about, Doc. Give you a game later. 10:15, all right, Colonel?
Peasant.
A photograph? Well, what does he want? Or need I ask?
Well, let's put it this way. He doesn't write for Country Ways. He's from the gutter press.
And if you don't cooperate?
You've got a nerve.
Do you want me to tell the story, or...?
Or I pay you to keep quiet? I die first.
Like your 6 soldiers.
I've killed better men than you, with my bare hands.
Everybody has a price, of course. Charlie, it's a great story. Country house, sex, military scandal, mad professor, arsonist, and a tart. All I need is the dirt on the Rev Green of this parish, and I'm home and dry. Dig what you can for me. Aha! Start the day with the hair of the dog. Nice drop. Funny finding you here.
Don't know what you mean.
Your former mistress died in that fire. Arson, wasn't it? I was court reporter.
I was innocent.
Not what the police thought. Mrs. Peacock know about the fire, does she? Insured, is she?
I was innocent.
Of course you were. Still, you know what they say, don't you? Eh? There's no smoke without fire. Oh, I'm sorry. Tactless of me. Everybody at church?
Except the professor. He doesn't believe.
Does the vicar?
I beg your pardon.
A bit of a gambler, I hear. Up to his ears at the bookies.
Do you take delight in upsetting people, Mr. Stringer? Liars and scandalmongers have made his life hell in the past.
Now, calm down. I've heard something else about the Reverend and his, shall I say, penchant for the mature ladies of this parish. Wouldn't want that little story to get out now, would we?
Journalists are an evil in the world, Mrs. White.
He's determined to make trouble.
Not to worry, my dear. Perhaps he won't be with us much longer.
Cheers for now. Doc, fancy a drink? We can have a chat about research and united agriculture.
Why? You've already made up your mind.
Oh, sure. I've got an expert who'll say you recommended unsafe product. Mad prof kills 30,000. It's a nice headline. What was it? A compound of arsenic and dioxin?
You wouldn't dare to print lies.
See you at lunch, Doc. Prayer, was it?
And what, may I ask, do you want?
How about Wild Widow tells all to the Sunday papers?
But I wouldn't.
Oh, I would. Juicy stuff if I write it. 10,000 not to. Think about it while I call my editor.
He's dead! Mr. Stringer!
Well, the journalist certainly found a sensational story. Murder at Arlington Grange. His own, and a scoop that he'll never report. But who killed David Stringer? Only 2 people in this studio know that. I'm one of them, and the other, of course, is the murderer, who is one of these 6 suspects. Was it Colonel Mustard to hide his Gulf War guilt? Mrs. Peacock feared a scandal, but could she kill? Did Miss Scarlett prove a fatal attraction? Did Mrs. White have a burning desire to bury the past? Did the Reverend Green take a gamble and silence Stringer? Or did Professor Plum stop at nothing to stop the press? So there they are. Our 6 suspects, 6 possible murder weapons, and of course 6 possible rooms. So, studio detectives, based on the evidence that you've heard so far, I want your gut reactions as to what the weapon was, where it happened, and of course, who the killer is.
Over to you, Lisa.
Okay, well, our gut reaction, we think that the murder happened in the kitchen. We think the murder weapon was the paper knife, and we think the murderer is Miss Scarlett.
Scarlett? All right, calm yourself, because we've got a long way to go, but I want to move on to a second gut reaction now from Jenny and Nigel.
Well, now that everyone knows how we gossip columnists earn our living,
Yeah.
we think it happened in the kitchen.
Yes, the murder weapon was the insecticide.
And the villain is Professor Plum.
Professor Plum. A slightly more popular choice, but we move on now to round 1, where our studio sleuths can actually cross-examine all 6 suspects. And do remember at this stage that only the murderer can lie. All the others must be telling the truth. So, Lisa and Kevin, would you please start the cross-examination?
Thank you. Miss Scarlett. Hello. Now, the first time we saw you on the morning of the murder, you were banging the gong and shouting murder.
Yes, I just found the body.
Yes. Can you tell me exactly what you were doing before you found the body?
Yes, after church, Colonel Mustard insisted that we talk, and I explained the ghastly situation with Stringer. Then Mrs. White asked me if I would fetch everyone for lunch, and that's when I found the body.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it sounds reasonably convincing. Jenny and Nigel, your question, please.
Reverend Green, coming back from church, where you'd no doubt given a thumping great sermon.
Indeed, I had.
You were talking to Mrs. White. What did you exactly mean when you said that Stringer wouldn't be with you for much longer?
Well, after my thumping good service, I was talking to Colonel Mustard about the situation, which none of us were very pleased about. We talked it over and decided, in fact, Colonel Mustard decided that he would actually run him off the estate that afternoon, and that's exactly what was going to happen.
All right, let's move back to Lisa and Kevin. Your next question, please.
Colonel Mustard this time, you actually look very upset. I'd even say murderous even, when Mr. Stringer kept revealing more and more about the undercover operation of yours that went quite badly wrong. We'd like to know, where were you and what were you doing on the morning of the murder?
Well, I'd just come from a very upsetting conversation with Vivian in the drawing room. And then I went to see Mrs. Peacock in the study, wasn't it, darling? Study.
Yeah.
And we tried to work out how we could get rid of this monster. And then we heard of his demise. I was sorry I wasn't there, actually.
All right, back to Nigel and Jenny.
Okay, Professor Plum. When you were having your disagreement with Stringer, you were in the library and you picked up a bottle of wine and you looked at it. Did you take a drink from it?
No, I was about to take a drink from it, and then I caught sight of the label and, of course, realised that Stringer had an execrable taste in wine. Wanting desperately to have a glass of wine, I went to the dining room in the hope that perhaps there might be something acceptable there.
Well, he is a bit of a wine buff. All right, let's finally move back to Lisa and Kevin.
Mrs. Peacock, can you tell us, please, what was a gun doing in your desk drawer in the study? It's not an everyday household thing, is it?
No, it's not at all. When my husband, Jack Peacock, died many years ago, I was alone in the house. Well, I was alone, 3 ladies were alone in the house. And it was actually Mike, Colonel Mustard, that on one of my birthdays he bought me that gun. And I do feel that there is a sense of protection in our house by dint of the fact that I have it there.
Just protection. And the last cross-examination question, please, again from Nigel.
Mrs. White, you hinted, or it was hinted by Stringer, that you'd had an affair with the Reverend Green. Would you kill for love?
Please. I can't believe that's a serious inquiry to find out who killed your colleague, Mr. Dempster. Simply looking for salacious gossip as far as I can see.
I'm sorry, Mrs. White, I have to step in here. Would you kill for love?
A woman of my age has no need to kill for love.
All right, we've now heard from each of our 6 suspects, so now our studio detectives here must make their deduction. Now, the best thing, of course, for them to do is to make a completely correct one, 3 out of 3. But the second best thing for them to do is to get all 3 wrong, none out of 3, because that way we can actually eliminate a room, a weapon, and a suspect from these inquiries. So, Lisa and Kevin, I want you to tell me in which room David Stringer was killed, what weapon was used to kill him, and, of course, who the murderer was.
We think the murder was committed in the kitchen with a paper knife, and I'm afraid we still think it was Miss Scarlett.
Scarlett's still in the frame for you. Now, why do you think that?
Well, actually, we didn't find her very convincing when she came to announce the murder. We think she was actually covering up that she had done it.
Let's move across to Jenny and Nigel.
Jenny seemed to point out that Miss Scarlett was coming out of the billiard room, so we'd like to change from our gut reaction.
Yes, from our little map we've got here.
Billiard room, yes. But you still think, don't you?
Insecticide.
And therefore it must be...
Professor Plum.
Okay. just tell me why you still think Professor Plum's the guilty man.
Well, Jenny points out, you see, this is women's intuition. She says that he's got the most to lose from this appalling, blackmailing journalist.
All right, thank you both very much indeed. Let's just now go back to Lisa and Kevin and remind ourselves of your deductions. You felt that the room where the murder was committed was the kitchen, it was done with a paper knife, and that Miss Scarlett is the killer. Well, I have to tell you, you're completely wrong on all 3 counts. And let's just recap again on what Jenny and Nigel deduced at this stage. They think the murder was committed in the billiard room. The weapon, such as it is, was the insecticide, and that Professor Plum is the guilty man. I can tell you at this stage that you have 2 out of 3 of your guesses right. So, Jenny and Nigel are getting close, but we've also made an elimination. We can now definitely rule out the kitchen, the paper knife, and of course, Miss Scarlett. Miss Scarlett, I'm glad to say, you are now completely in the clear. Well, in just a moment, our studio detectives will continue to cross-examine the suspects and, of course, the witness. But first of all, some very important new evidence has come to light. We're going to start outside Stringer's bedroom.
Professor!
Oh, I noticed some aphids on the roses. To tell the truth, I'm trying to evade that damn journalist.
Troublemaker. I tried to warn Mrs. Peacock about it. I don't want to talk about it. If you'll excuse me, I've got work to do.
Photographs!
Well, it was over a year ago.
How can you be so stupid?
Well, that's why I had to go to his room. We're gonna go kill him!
My dear girl. Look, we're both grown-ups, you and I. Hey, I'm not exactly spotless myself. But he'll pay for it. And I'll deal with him, my dear.
Well, what do you think at home? Incriminating behaviour or innocent actions? Well, here in round 2, our studio sleuths can put this extra evidence to use as they cross-examine any suspect or witness, of course, that they wish. Each question and answer must be followed immediately by a deduction. So we're going to start straight away with Lisa and Kevin.
Yeah, Professor Plum, when you left the kitchen on the morning of the murder, did you take anything with you?
Not that I remember. Stringer was rather overpowering. I think I was counting the washing up liquid or something like that, and I noticed there was a bottle of Bovril in there. No, I didn't take anything.
Not a thing?
Not a thing.
He says you left empty-handed. Would you like to make a deduction, please?
Actually,
Yes.
I think we've changed our minds quite dramatically.
We've had a rethink.
Mainly because we got the other lot totally wrong.
Absolutely.
We think the murder happened in the dining room. We think the murder weapon was the insecticide, and we go along with Nigel and Jenny. We think the murderer is Professor Plum.
Because he looks very sinister.
Well, let's just remind ourselves. Lisa and Kevin, you said the dining room, the insecticide and Professor Plum. And I can tell you at this stage that 2 out of those 3 deductions are correct. Well done.
Thank you.
Nigel and Jenny.
Yes. Got a question for Mrs. White. When you were in the kitchen with Professor Plum and he was fiddling around in the cupboards, did you notice where the bottle of wine was?
Which bottle of wine?
Well, in an earlier shot, we saw that the wine and the insecticide were appealingly close together.
I don't have any memory of a bottle of wine. I mean, that man had bottles of wine everywhere. I'm glad someone stopped him before he drank the house dry, quite frankly. But I don't remember a bottle of wine in the kitchen.
You really can't remember?
No, I'm sorry, I can't.
Well, despite that negative answer, you still have to make a deduction. Have a go.
I think Jenny's cottoned on to the actual modus operandi of the murder.
Yes. Library. The murder potion was the insecticide and the murderer was Professor Plum.
Well, that's a very interesting set of deductions. Can I just ask you why you've made them?
Well, because the last place we saw the bottle of wine was in the library. And we presume that Stringer just nipped back for a quick drink on the sly, because journalists do drink a lot.
I'm afraid they do.
You say you think he poisoned the bottle. Well, I can tell you that it was the library, and it was the insecticide, and it was Professor Plum.
Yes, I killed him. He came here so full of conceit, not looking for the truth. He would lie, cheat, and threaten for a lurid headline. He would destroy honorable lives for the sake of one moment's titillation for his readers. He upset us all, and he blackmailed me. It is true that a project I worked on had been used without adequate safeguards. Regrettable, but Stringer was going to ruin my reputation. So I decided to poison his wine. I knew he'd be back for the bottle. What was it? Oh, a cocktail of insecticides. It seemed somehow appropriate.
So, it was Professor Plum who murdered David Stringer in the library with the insecticide. My apologies have to go to the other 5. You're all, of course, cleared of suspicion and free to leave this place without a stain on your character. And, of course, our congratulations go to Jenny and Nigel, who played a wonderful game. And, of course, commiserations to Lisa and Kevin. You did very well, but just not well enough. And well done for playing Cluedo. Thank you. We'll be back, of course, next week with another murder to solve. But for now, from all of us here on Cluedo, it's a very good night to you. Good night.